The red sun of Kepler 442c was setting when engineer Jake Miller first saw the smoke rising from the canyon. He had been checking the mining equipment on this empty planet for 3 days. His job was simple: make sure the machines worked properly. But the thick black smoke meant something was very wrong. Jake grabbed his scanner and headed toward the crash site. His boots crunched on the rocky ground as he walked down into the deep canyon. What he found there changed his life forever. A strange ship lay broken against the canyon wall. It was not like any human ship Jake had ever seen. The metal was smooth and seemed to glow with a soft blue light. Parts of it looked almost alive, like it had been grown instead of built. Steam rose from cracks in the hull. Jake found a hole torn in the side of the ship. He squeezed through carefully, his flashlight cutting through the darkness inside. The air smelled sweet, like flowers, but there was also the bitter smell of burning electronics. In what looked like the main cabin, Jake found her. An alien woman lay on the floor, badly hurt. Her skin was pale blue, almost silver in the dim light. She had long white hair and large golden eyes that seemed to glow. Blood the color of purple flowers ran from cuts on her face and arms. But what made Jake's heart stop was what she held in her arms. A small child, maybe 3 years old, with the same blue skin and golden eyes. The little girl was crying softly, calling for her mother in a language Jake had never heard. The woman's eyes found Jake. She tried to speak, but the words came out broken and hard to understand. "Please, human, take her. Keep her safe." Her voice was weak and getting weaker. "They will kill her if they find her. Promise me." Jake knelt down beside them. He had never seen anything like these people before. The woman's hand was cold. When she grabbed his arm, her grip was surprisingly strong. "I promise," Jake said, though he did not fully understand what he was promising. The woman smiled, and Jake saw that her teeth were white like pearls. She touched the little girl's face gently. "Luna," she whispered. "Her name is Luna." Then, she closed her golden eyes and did not open them again. The little girl looked up at Jake with eyes full of tears. She reached out her small blue hands toward him. Jake had never been around children much, but something about her made him want to protect her. He picked her up carefully. She was lighter than a human child should be. Jake looked around the broken ship. There were strange devices everywhere, some still glowing with that soft blue light. He picked up a few small items that looked important and put them in his pack. Then he carried Luna out of the ship and back to his own shuttle. On the way back to his base camp, Jake's mind raced. He could not take an alien child back to the human colonies. The military would take her away for testing. Scientists would want to study her. She would never have a normal life. But Jake had made a promise to a dying mother. When he reached his camp, Jake called his old friend Amy Foster on the long-range radio. Amy was a doctor on the space station above the planet. She was also one of the few people Jake trusted completely. "Amy, I need your help," Jake said, "and I need you to not ask too many questions." 3 hours later, Amy's medical shuttle landed at Jake's camp. She took one look at Luna and her eyes went wide. "Jake, what have you done?" "I saved a life," Jake said simply. Amy ran her medical scanner over Luna. The little girl sat quietly on Jake's lap, watching Amy with curious golden eyes. "Her body is mostly human," Amy said, surprised. "But there are differences. Her heart beats slower. Her blood is different. And Jake, her brain activity is off the charts. She's incredibly intelligent." "Can you help me?" Jake asked. Amy looked at Luna, who had fallen asleep against Jake's chest. "The military will want her if they find out what she is." "I know." Amy was quiet for a long time. Then she nodded. "There's a genetic condition called Anderson syndrome. It can cause blue skin color in humans. It's very rare, but it exists. I can fake medical records that say Luna has this condition. It would explain her appearance." "And her eyes?" "Contact lenses. Special ones that make golden eyes look brown. I can get them." Jake felt relief wash over him. "Thank you." But Jake, this won't be easy. Raising a child is hard work. Raising an alien child will be even harder. Are you sure about this? Jake looked down at Luna sleeping in his arms. She looked so small and helpless. Her mother asked me to keep her safe. I gave my word. Over the next few days, Amy helped Jake create a new identity for Luna. According to the fake records, she was Luna Miller, Jake's adopted daughter. Her parents had died in a transport accident, and she had a rare genetic condition that affected her skin color. Jake taught Luna to wear the special contact lenses that made her eyes look brown instead of golden. He bought her clothes and toys from the colony supply ship. Slowly, Luna began to trust him. She learned to call him Papa Jake in her soft, musical voice. Jake also began to learn about Luna herself. She was incredibly smart for a 3-year-old. She learned to speak English perfectly in just 2 weeks. She could solve puzzles that challenged adults. When she watched Jake work on his engineering projects, she seemed to understand things that should have been impossible for a child to grasp. Sometimes late at night, Luna would have bad dreams. She would cry and speak in her alien language. Jake would hold her until she felt safe again. He began to love this strange little girl as if she were truly his own daughter. Jake never found out who Luna's people were or why her mother had been running from someone. The broken ship's computers were too damaged to repair, but he kept the small devices he had taken from the crash site, hoping that someday they might help Luna understand where she came from. For now, though, Luna was his daughter, and Jake Miller, simple engineer, had become the father of an alien princess, though he would not learn that truth for many years to come. 15 years had passed since that day in the canyon. Luna was now 18 years old and had grown into a beautiful young woman. Her blue skin had become lighter over the years, almost like pale silver. She still wore the brown contact lenses to hide her golden eyes, and everyone believed she had a rare human genetic condition. Luna had become the youngest certified starship engineer in human space. She worked with Jake on the frontier colony of New Denver, where they designed new types of engines for spaceships. Her designs were amazing, much better than anything other engineers could create. But Luna did not know why the ideas came so easily to her. Jake watched his adopted daughter with pride and worry. Luna was brilliant, but lately she had been having strange dreams. She would wake up in the middle of the night, talking about a crystal city floating among the stars. She heard voices speaking in a language she had never learned but somehow understood. "Papa Jake," Luna said one morning over breakfast. "I had the dream again. The one with the golden towers and the singing crystals. It felt so real." Jake put down his coffee cup. "Tell me about it." "There were people like me, blue skin, golden eyes. They were calling my name, but not Luna. They called me something else. Zara Lynn." Luna rubbed her temples. "What does it mean?" Jake's blood ran cold. He had never told Luna her real name or anything about her mother's last words. "Dreams can be strange things," he said carefully. "Maybe it's just your mind making up stories." But Jake knew better. Deep down, he had always feared this day would come. That afternoon, Luna was doing routine maintenance on the deep space communication array. It was a big dish that picked up signals from other human colonies. Luna had worked on it many times before, but today something was different. As she connected 2 power cables, the equipment began to glow with a soft blue light. The same blue light Jake remembered from her mother's ship. Luna stepped back, confused. She had only connected standard human cables, but the array was responding like it was alien technology. "That's strange," Luna muttered. She reached out to touch a control panel, and suddenly her contact lenses flickered. For just a moment, her golden eyes were visible. When they touched the panel, it lit up like a Christmas tree. Unknown to Luna, her touch had activated something hidden deep inside the communication array. A signal shot out across the galaxy, traveling faster than light itself. It was a signal that had been waiting 15 years to be sent. 3 weeks later, Jake was woken up by emergency alarms. He rushed to the colony's command center where dozens of officers were staring at their screens in shock. "What's happening?" Jake asked. Colonel Pete Carter, the base commander, pointed at the main display. "Ships, Jake. Hundreds of them. They appeared at the edge of our star system an hour ago. Jake looked at the screen and felt his heart stop. The ships were beautiful and terrifying at the same time. They looked like they had been grown instead of built with smooth curves and surfaces that pulsed with golden light. Jake recognized that light. He had seen it before, 15 years ago. Have they made contact? Jake asked. Yes, Carter said grimly. They're demanding we return someone to them. Someone called Princess Zaralyn. Jake closed his eyes. The moment he had dreaded for 15 years had finally arrived. The alien ships moved closer to the colony. Their leader requested a meeting. On the colony's main space station, Jake watched the news feeds as 3 alien beings came aboard the station. They were tall and graceful, with the same blue skin and golden eyes as Luna, but they wore clothes that looked like liquid metal and moved with the confidence of royalty. The lead alien introduced himself as Prince Ryanvar. Through a translator device, he spoke to the human officials. We are the Valen Empire, he said. 15 years ago, our princess was lost when her ship crashed. We have been searching for her ever since. 3 weeks ago, we received her beacon signal from this system. Colonel Carter looked confused. We don't have any of your people here. Prince Ryanvar smiled sadly. You may not know you have her. Our princess was very young when she was lost. She may have been raised as one of your own. Jake felt Luna come up beside him as they watched the news broadcast. Her face had gone pale. Without her contact lenses, which she had removed to clean, her golden eyes were visible. Eyes exactly like those of the aliens on the screen. Papa Jake, Luna whispered, her voice shaking. Those people, they look like me. Jake put his arm around his daughter. He had always known this moment would come, but he was not ready for it. Luna, we need to talk. That night, Jake told Luna everything. About finding her mother's ship, about the promise he had made, about the fake identity Amy had created. Luna listened quietly, tears running down her cheeks. So I'm not really human, she said finally. You're my daughter, Jake said firmly. That's what matters to me, but I'm also their princess. Jake nodded. It seems so. 2 days later, Prince Ryanvar came to the colony surface. He was Luna's uncle, her mother's brother. When he saw Luna, he fell to his knees. Princess Zaralyn, he said in perfect English. We have searched the galaxy for you. Your people need you. Luna looked at the alien prince, then at Jake. What if I don't want to leave? Prince Ryanvar stood up. That is your choice, princess. But I must tell you, our empire is in great danger. We need our rightful heir to help us survive. Jake watched as Luna struggled with the biggest decision of her life. She was torn between the only family she had ever known and a destiny she had never chosen. Can Papa Jake come with me? Luna asked. Prince Ryanvar looked surprised, then smiled. The human who raised our princess? He would be honored among our people. Yes, he may come. Luna took Jake's hand and squeezed it tight. Then we go together. Jake felt pride and fear at the same time. His little girl was about to become a princess of the stars. But she was still his daughter, and he would follow her anywhere in the galaxy. The journey to the Valen homeworld took 3 days through something called quantum tunnels. Luna and Jake traveled on Prince Ryanvar's ship, which was unlike anything Jake had ever seen. The walls seemed alive, pulsing with soft golden light. When Luna touched them, they responded to her like they recognized her. This is incredible, Luna whispered as she ran her hands along a control panel. Without any training, she understood how it worked. The ship's systems seemed to speak to her mind directly. Jake watched his daughter with amazement and worry. Luna was changing. Away from the brown contact lenses, her golden eyes seemed brighter. Her movements were becoming more graceful, more like the Valen. But she still held his hand when she was nervous, still called him Papa Jake. When they arrived at Thelmara, the Valen homeworld, Jake's jaw dropped. The planet was covered in crystal cities that floated in the sky, connected by bridges of pure light. It was exactly like Luna's dreams. Welcome home, princess, Prince Ryanvar said softly. Luna stared at the beautiful world below them. It's real, she breathed. The crystal towers, the singing bridges. I remember this place. The royal palace was carved from a single enormous crystal that grew from the planet's surface up into the clouds. Inside, Jake felt very small and very human. The Valen moved around them like graceful dancers, their clothes changing colors with their moods. Luna met her grandfather, Emperor Talseth, who was over 300 years old but looked no older than 50. He had the same golden eyes as Luna, but his were filled with sadness. My dear granddaughter, the Emperor said, embracing Luna. You look so much like your mother. I thought I had lost you forever. But not everyone was happy to see Luna return. Many noble families at the court whispered that she was contaminated by human culture. They said a princess raised by primitive aliens could never truly rule the Valian Empire. Lady Sinara, a powerful noble, spoke loudly at the first court meeting Luna attended. How can someone who grew up among barbarians understand our ways? She knows nothing of our traditions, our laws, our technology. Luna stood up, her golden eyes flashing with anger. You're right, she said. I don't know your traditions, but I do know how to solve problems. And from what I've seen, your empire has plenty of problems. Jake felt proud of his daughter as she faced down the sneering nobles. Luna had inherited her human stubbornness along with her Valen grace. Over the following weeks, Luna proved herself in ways that surprised everyone. She studied Valen history and law during the day and worked in the engineering labs at night. Jake helped her, applying his human problem-solving methods to Valen biotechnology. Look at this, Luna said one evening, showing Jake a power core that wasn't working properly. The Valen try to grow everything organically, but sometimes you need good old-fashioned mechanical engineering. Jake examined the device. What if we combine both approaches? Use your people's biotech for the energy source, but add some human-style control systems for stability. Luna's eyes lit up. That's brilliant, Papa Jake. Working together, they created hybrid technologies that amazed the Valen scientists. Luna's engines were twice as efficient as anything the Empire had built before. Her communication systems could reach across the galaxy instantly. Her weapons were more precise and less destructive than traditional Valen designs. But Luna's greatest strength was her ability to see beyond Valen traditions. While her people had always ruled other species through fear and superior technology, Luna suggested something different. Why don't we invite the other species to work with us instead of forcing them to obey? She asked during a council meeting. The nobles looked shocked. Princess, we are superior to these lesser beings, Lord Kethmore said. They exist to serve us. That's exactly the kind of thinking that got my mother killed, Luna shot back. She was running from civil war caused by this arrogance. Maybe it's time to try something new. Jake watched with pride as Luna began to change the Valen Empire from within. She set up trade agreements instead of demanding tribute. She shared Valen medical technology with poorer worlds in exchange for raw materials. Most importantly, she listened to what other species needed instead of just taking what the Valen wanted. But then disaster struck. Ancient automated defense systems left behind by a species that had died out millions of years ago suddenly activated across the galaxy. The systems began attacking every inhabited world they could find, seeing all current life as invaders to be destroyed. The attacks were devastating. Entire colonies were wiped out in minutes. The ancient weapons were more advanced than anything the Valen had ever seen. Worse, they seemed to learn and adapt from each battle, becoming stronger with every fight. Emperor Talseth called an emergency meeting of all the galaxy's leaders. For the first time in history, humans, Valen, and dozens of other species sat together to face a common threat. Our individual fleets cannot stop these machines, the Emperor announced. They are too strong, too smart. We need a new approach. Luna stood up. I think I know how to stop them, but I'll need help from every species here. What do you need? Asked General Lisa Hayes, representing the human fleet. The ancient systems use bio-neural networks, like Valen technology, Luna explained. But they also have digital components that are similar to human computers. I think they can only be shut down by someone who understands both systems. That's impossible, Lady Sinara said. No one understands both biotech and digital tech well enough. Luna smiled. Actually, someone does. She looked at Jake, who was sitting in the human delegation. My father taught me that the best solutions come from combining different approaches. I've been doing that my whole life. Jake felt his heart swell with pride. His little girl, the alien princess he had found in a crashed ship, was about to save the galaxy using the very skills he had taught her. The plan was dangerous. Luna would have to get close to the central control system of the ancient network, risking her life to create a bridge between the biotech and digital components. But it was their only chance. As Luna prepared for the mission, she hugged Jake tightly. Thank you for teaching me to think like a human, Papa Jake. It might just save us all. Jake hugged her back, knowing that his daughter was about to face the greatest challenge of her life. But he also knew she was ready for it. The ancient control station floated in the dead space between galaxies, a massive structure built by a species that had vanished long before the Valen Empire was born. It looked like a giant metal spider, with thousands of arms reaching out, in all directions. From this place, the deadly machines were controlling their attacks across the galaxy. Luna piloted her small ship toward the station, with Jake sitting beside her. Behind them followed a fleet of ships from every major species in the galaxy, human, Valen, and dozens of others. But only Luna could get close enough to shut down the ancient systems. Are you ready for this? Jake asked his daughter as they approached the station. Luna nodded, her golden eyes focused and determined. I have to be. Everyone is counting on us. The station's defenses tried to stop them, but Luna's hybrid ship designs were too fast and too smart. She had combined Valen biotech with human engineering to create something the ancient systems couldn't understand or predict. Inside the station, Luna and Jake found themselves in a vast chamber filled with pulsing bio-neural networks that looked like giant spider webs made of light. At the center was a massive computer core that hummed with digital energy. There it is, Luna said, pointing to the central system. The brain that controls everything. But as they approached, the station's security systems activated. Energy barriers sprang up around them, and mechanical guardians began emerging from the walls. The ancient builders had designed their defenses well. Luna, we're trapped, Jake said as laser beams shot past their heads. Luna closed her eyes and reached out with her mind, the way her Valen heritage allowed her to do. She could feel the bio-neural networks responding to her presence. But the HFY digital core remained locked away behind security barriers that only responded to mathematical codes. I need both systems to work together, Luna said. Papa Jake, remember when you taught me about bridge circuits? How to connect two different types of electrical systems? Jake nodded. You need a translator that both sides can understand. Exactly. Luna placed her hands on the bio-neural web. The living circuits recognized her as Valen royalty and opened themselves to her control. Now I need you to help me with the digital side. Jake pulled out his portable computer and began typing rapidly. If I can create a mathematical bridge between organic and digital languages, working together, father and daughter created something that had never existed before. A communication protocol that let biotech and digital systems talk to each other directly. Luna channeled her Valen abilities through the organic networks, while Jake fed human programming codes into the digital core. The ancient system fought back, trying to reject their intrusion. Alarms blared and the station shook as safety systems tried to shut down the unauthorized access. But Luna and Jake held on, their combined knowledge slowly breaking through defenses that had protected the station for millions of years. It's working, Luna shouted over the noise. I can feel the system responding. Through the bio-neural web, Luna sent a simple message in the hybrid language she and Jake had created. War is over. Peace now. Sleep. The ancient system paused, processing this new information. For the first time in millions of years, someone was speaking to it in a way it could truly understand. The message was both logical and emotional, digital and organic, human and alien. Slowly, the attacks across the galaxy stopped. The ancient machines powered down and returned to their long sleep. The crisis was over. When Luna and Jake returned to Thelmara, they found a galaxy transformed. The successful cooperation between different species had created bonds that would last for generations. Emperor Talseth announced that Luna had proven herself worthy to be his heir. "But I have conditions," Luna said during her coronation ceremony. "If I'm going to be empress, we're going to do things differently." The coronation was the first in Valen history to include representatives from other species. Human Admiral Steve Parker stood beside Valen nobles. Traders from the Outer Rim world sat next to ancient Valen lords. For the first time, the Empire was truly celebrating diversity instead of just tolerating it. As the new Empress Zaralyn, Luna's first act was to create the Galactic Cooperation Council. Every species would have a voice in decisions that affected them. The Valen would no longer rule through force but through partnership. Jake became the first human to hold the title of Imperial Engineering Advisor. His practical approach to problem-solving became legendary throughout the Empire. Young Valen engineers started studying human methods alongside their traditional biotech training. Luna established exchange programs where human engineers worked with Valen scientists. The hybrid technologies they developed together were amazing. Ships that could cross the galaxy in hours, medical devices that could cure diseases that had plagued species for centuries, communication systems that let different species understand each other perfectly. But Luna's greatest achievement was proving that strength came from cooperation, not domination. Under her rule, the galaxy entered a golden age of exploration and discovery. Old enemies became allies. Trade flourished between worlds that had never spoken to each other before. 1 year after her coronation, Luna stood on the bridge of the first joint exploration ship, watching human and Valen crews working side by side. They were about to launch the most ambitious mission in galactic history, a journey to explore the unknown regions beyond the galaxy's edge. Jake joined her at the observation window. Now bearing the honorary title of First Father of the Empress, he wore robes that combined human and Valen designs. "Are you happy?" he asked his daughter. Luna smiled, her golden eyes reflecting the stars ahead of them. "I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, and it's all because a human engineer found a little alien girl and decided to save her life." "You saved yourself," Jake said. "I just gave you the tools to do it." "The best tools of all," Luna replied. "Love, family, and the belief that different people working together can accomplish anything." As the great ship jumped into hyperspace, Luna reflected on her incredible journey. She was no longer just human or just Valen. She was something new, a bridge between worlds, a leader who had learned that the greatest strength comes from understanding and accepting differences. The galaxy stretched out before them, full of mysteries to explore and new friends to meet. And Luna knew that whatever challenges they faced, they would face them together. Humans, Valen, and all the other species who had learned to see strength in diversity. Jake's decision to save one alien child had changed the course of galactic civilization. Love had proven stronger than fear, cooperation more powerful than conquest. And in the end, that was the most human lesson of all.